Understanding space-time. So what exactly is this thing we hear about in physics as space-time, or the space-time continuum, or the fabric of space-time? Well, space-time is simply space plus time, where space is composed of 3 dimensions, or it's 3D, and time is 1-dimensional, it's 1D. To better understand dimensions, let's go through the other dimensions, starting with 0 dimensions. A 0-dimensional object is a single point, and can be explained at minimum with a single coordinate. An object that is 1-dimensional is a single line. It can be composed of many points. With a line, we only have 2 directions we can go in, either left or right. Therefore, we only need, at minimum, 1 axis to explain a 1-dimensional object. 2-dimensional objects are objects that are flat, like basic shapes for example. We now have up and down directions in addition to left and right directions. This means that minimally, we need only 2 axes to explain these 2-dimensional flat objects. A 3-dimensional object is an object with length, height, and width. All objects within our very universe as we know it, including our Earth and even us humans, are 3-dimensional. 3-dimensional objects require at least 3 axes to explain them. This means that we can measure 3-dimensional volumes, or 3-dimensional space, using an x, y, and z axis. We have length, height, and width. We can go left or right, up or down, or forwards or backwards. But now let us say that we would like our 3-dimensional object, in this case the Earth, to execute some type of action. Let's say we would like our Earth to rotate. In order to rotate, we need time. You see, after some time has passed, our Earth would have rotated a certain amount of degrees, and it might look something like this. After some more time has passed, the Earth would have rotated even more, and it might look something like this. What connects these images together is time. Time is 1-dimensional, so its nature is that of a line, and as far as physics can tell us, time always travels in one direction, and it travels in the positive direction. And just like a number line, we usually consider objects moving to the right as moving in the positive rather than the negative direction. So here we see that 3-dimensional space moves through time. Events and actions occur through time. The only reason that things can happen in our universe is because of time. The thing that allows us to talk to each other and walk from one end of the room to the other is time. The thing that allows the planets to orbit the sun is time. The thing that allowed the Big Bang to occur is time. Meaning that our universe would never have come into being if it had not been for time. Time allows the laws of physics to exist. So here we have space and time, space and time, space-time. And this brings up something very interesting. We know that space can be explained using an x, y, and z axis. Therefore, time, which is 1-dimensional, can be explained using a single t axis. This coordinate system of x, y, z, and t axes is known as the space-time continuum, or the fabric of space-time, or just space-time. But notice that we have 3 dimensions plus 1 dimension, which gives us 4 dimensions, meaning that the universe is 4-dimensional. This idea that time is this 4th dimension was a revolutionary idea, and it comes to us from the great mind of Albert Einstein. Before Einstein, time was thought of as just another variable, but we now know that time is more than just a variable we use in our physics equations. It is the 4th dimension, the thing by which space moves through. It's like a kayak going down a river. The kayak has 3 dimensions to it. It has volume and length, height, and width. But without the river, the kayak sits still. It has no movement, and no events can take place. It is not until it is placed in the water that it moves with the current of the river, and it sloshes around and moves about. This is what physicists mean when they say that we move through time, or that we move through space-time. Time is the current that allows things to happen, and at every instant, time flows forward, carrying us into the future. So one could say that we are three-dimensional creatures living in three-dimensional space who exist and interact in a four-dimensional universe. So just remember that when you are using the basic equation, speed is equal to distance divided by time, you are not just dividing by some variable called time, you are actually dividing by the fourth dimension.